Alright guys, I'm Adam,
I'm Dante.
and we want to welcome you to the first episode of Charlie Tango, The Raw Cut. A little bit about us, what we do, and we're going to talk about most importantly our passion this in the past maybe year or so.
Year and a half.
Year and a half. It's really starting to take off, and we just thought it'd be important to document it, get some new content out there, and we'll get a little more into that a little later in the video.
Sure. So, why we got our trucks, right? So, you got your truck how long ago? About a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I got it a little over a year and a half ago.
Yeah, so you got your Tacoma about a year and a half ago, and it's been an ongoing build since, as our most vehicles. I was always in the race scene and in race cars, fast cars, bikes, things of that nature. And then it's one of those things you all of a sudden you're out with your buddy and you're having a lot of fun going on trails, bouncing off rocks and whatnot. And then you kind of change up. So he had his Tacoma and started doing some modifications to it. I'm a mechanic by trade, so for me it was always he's going out breaking stuff or playing around, and he wants to upgrade so he can go on crazier trails. And next thing you know, I'm working on his truck for him. And I was like, well, you know what, screw it. I kind of want to get my own truck. And at the time, Chevy had just dropped the ZR2, and I was torn between a Wrangler Rubicon, TRD Pro, or the ZR2. My last vehicle prior to the truck was a 2015 Mustang GT Premium, so I had all of the nice features inside, and I really didn't want to give up that luxury. And the Wranglers are great vehicles, probably the most versatile off-road, but I personally did not want to drive them daily. So that left it between a Tacoma and a ZR2, or TRD Pro and a ZR2 rather. I didn't want to be driving the same truck as my best friend, so that was a big hindrance on it. And also for price point, I mean, yeah, the ZR2s are more expensive, but I think there's a little more leeway. When you go to dealerships, you might be able to talk them down a little bit. I mean, it all depends. Whereas when you walk into a Toyota dealership, I mean, the price is the price, more or less. You know, Toyota has a phenomenal product. There's no denying it. So they know what they have to offer, and they're pretty firm on things of that nature. So, but the big thing was, you know, the ZR2 had tricked out suspension from the factory. Didn't have to worry about it for upgrading per se. I mean, you're always going to. I'm looking at leveling springs from Ibach potentially, because I just ended up putting a off-road stealth bumper on my truck, so now I've got a little extra weight in the front. But yeah, the big thing was front locker and the suspension, and then also just personally, and this is a personal thing, not necessarily a bullet point against Toyota. It's just personal preference for the layout of the interiors. I think that Chevy did a little bit nicer of a layout on the inside and material-wise, but again, that's up to discrepancy.
So let's start with, before we get too deep into the trucks, because there's a lot to dissect with the trucks. Why did you get a truck in the first place? What made you, besides seeing what the Tacoma could do? All right, I mean, you know you could always hop in my truck if you want to go do something.
Right.
Let's go adventure.
Yeah.
What kind of convinced you to say, you know what, I want my own?
Good question. I mean, I always loved going fast and being low to the ground. Just wanted to change, kind of 180. And for me, I love being high up and having that kind of feeling where you're wrapped up. You're in a vehicle and you've got, you know, pretty good gap around you and everything else. You kind of get to disconnect from the world. Whereas when you're in a sports car, I mean, you know, your ass is dragging on the ground, and unless you know, I mean, the Mustang had a huge hood, so that was a little different. But
Yeah.
outside of that, the trucks, it's just nice to be able to. The big thing, honestly, my favorite part about driving a truck is not caring about if there's debris on the road. We live in Rhode Island, and the Northeast has terrible roads. There's no denying it. And so for me, I mean, it was a daily event of swerving around potholes or dodging potholes and debris on the sides of highways. So that was honestly
One of the little highways.
Yeah, that too. That was a big thing, you know. Now that I have the truck, it's one of those things. Like, there's crap on the road. It's like I'm gonna drive right over it.
Right.
If there's a curb in my way, I'm going over it. Whereas in the cars, you can't do that.
Right.
So it's a big limitation.
Right. For me, also the key point was just the ability to do stuff on my own. Like I lived half a mile up the road. It wasn't a big deal, but when I moved to a new apartment. I was able to, in 2 days, by myself, take trips back and forth with a truck, with the bed, by himself. Yeah. Some friends helped me move some of the bigger stuff. But regardless of the point, if I didn't have a truck, how many extra trips, how more of a pain would it have been on the roof? Now I'm renting U-Hauls, and it just gets to be a pain.
Right.
So having the truck to kind of do everything where
utility vehicles.
You get a Jeep, okay?
Right.
You have a Jeep, great off-road.
Yeah.
But arguably better than our trucks sometimes in certain situations.
Yeah.
But like, you're stuck with the back of a Jeep.
Right.
Where
you can throw a couple bags of groceries back there. That's about it, and that's going to take the back seat out.
So, and I know for
him, the Gladiator just came out. We got to go take a look at that at the Northeast International Auto Show. Looks very cool. They don't have any pricing out yet.
We'll talk a little about that.
Yeah, we'll get
maybe
we'll get
another episode. But I know when you were first like kind of want a truck. I mean, you have the extended cab 6-foot bed, which
arguably
is great. Arguably is not. It has its pros and cons.
Depends what you're doing.
But when you moved in with me, that 6-foot bed came in handy quick.
It's amazing, that extra inch, that extra foot. You never know.
That extra foot kind of
makes all the difference.
Yeah, it did make all the difference. But it is nice having the bed. So I know when you were like, well, it's cool. It's a lot of money. It's great off road. It's great looking. But that little bonus, that little asterisk in the corner was you also get to fit stuff and use it as like a real daily vehicle. The utility aspect.
That's a good point. To build on that, daily vehicle, I loved his Tacoma factory. It drove very nice. But, again, personal opinion up to discrepancy. I'm sure many people will say otherwise. I remember driving into the dealership, seeing my truck. Actually, they didn't even have it on the books yet. It was a hilarious story. I could go there for 30 minutes on that one. It was up underneath the huge display, the dealership sign on this rock mound. They had it all flexed out. Didn't even have a window sticker. And I remember the person I was with, we were pulling in, and they looked at it and they were like, "Oh, that's a really cool truck." And I just remember kind of grinning and looking over at him and saying, "Yeah, that's what we're here to look at." So that's always a fun moment in life. But we ended up going for a test drive in not my truck. They had a gorgeous four-door red one on the lot that was already in their system, and so we took that. And by this point, obviously, I had test driven a Tacoma. I had gone out and driven a bunch of different Jeeps. And it's one of those things when you have rather large tires or you're in a truck, you have a lot of, you're higher up, you're more susceptible to the wind shifting you around. And it's not like a sports car. I was very used to a sports car suspension feel where you're a little more connected to the ground and the bumps, depending on, as long as it's not a track car, it's a little easier on the absorption of impacts. Again,
especially the Subaru you had.
Yeah. So I remember hopping on 195 and just every pothole, all the cracks, everything. I was hitting all of them, and it was amazing. It blew my mind. The ZR2s with how well and agile they handled the bumps and shifting around. And I remember just granted you have a lift kit. It's like a spacer kit right now.
Spacer kit right now.
We're gonna swap it out. We got some fun stuff coming for his truck, but. So right now you've got a spacer kit and then 33. So it's his suspension's a little tensed up right now.
It's tensed up. It's worn out too. It's kind of taken quite the beating over the past 2 years.
But so that Multimatic, praise them, love them. Wish you could play around with them a little more, but since they're valves instead of shims, there's really not much leeway in how you can adjust the suspension. There's a lot of spacer kits out there and leveling kits, but in reality,
really taking away the performance of those shocks.
In reality, you have to understand that valving. It all depends on where your piston's coming through in the cycle of travel, and when you go throwing spacers in, it is going to affect the geometry of everything.
Yeah.
Regardless
That's
of
with
what
anything, regardless whether it's a suspension or mine. And mine affects it a little less. It took a good beating from it, but I think you'd significantly see more impact.
Yes, I would notice more impact, and that's up again.
Right.
Whether or not people want to acknowledge it is.
Yeah.
That's the only drawback to mathematics. which
Right.
Chevy has released new ones, but absurdly priced. But
Alright.
yeah, so I fell in love with the ride.
Yeah, we'll get into the Tacoma a little bit. So I bought the truck. It was 2017. It was, oh geez, let me think. It's coming up. Actually, it's March 3rd, 2017. I bought the truck.
You got yours in March?
Yeah, it was March. Yeah,
I got mine in March.
March 3rd.
Or May. Did I get mine in March or May?
Yours was, you got yours in a snowstorm.
Yeah.
It was definitely
It
not
was in
March.
Easter
It was
2017.
probably
No, 2018.
February. Probably this
No,
month.
no, no. It was either March or May.
It must have been March, because no way we had snow in May.
Yeah. Holy shit. How about that?
Alright, so,
Fun fact.
got the truck. Didn't really think I was going to do anything crazy with it. My dad had Tacomas basically since 14. He had one in 14, then he got a 16, then he had, and now he has an 18.
Yeah, you're a Toyota
So
fan.
he kind of went through Tacomas while I was just getting my license. He was always like a Ram guy and like full-size truck, and then yeah, the newer trucks were starting to, he tows boats, and he has like a bass boat. Nothing too crazy, 18-foot, 150 horse, nice bass boat. But the mid-size trucks were towing just as much as his older full-size was, with better fuel efficiency, and it was just a nice ride. So he went with the Tacomas.
That's
Kind
what
of
you guys sold.
was really not sold on the 14 because it still had the second-gen bug-eye, which I was not a fan of. Third gens came out with the new headlights, the new body style, fell in love with it. The opportunity came to get one, and I pulled the trigger on it. And didn't think I was going to do anything crazy with it until I really started digging into the Tacoma world, which I had no idea how big it was.
It is
Zero
massive.
clue. I thought it was just
It's like a bit of a
a
cult
stock
following.
only type. Everybody has a Tacoma, but no, like I've rarely seen decked out Tacomas because I don't know, I wasn't really looking for them, I guess. Anyway, got into the world and then was in culture shock real quick on how
Yep.
crazy these trucks can get.
Yep.
Obviously, fell in love with the whole thing real quick as well. So instantly just started looking at all the parts, aftermarket things, what to do.
Yes.
Co-conspired with him about everything I wanted to do, and he was like, "Oh man, you're looking to get into some serious money," and I'm like, "Yeah, but look at what you can get." So I ended up just doing little things at first, like light bar kit, side steps, like little stuff that really made no effect on the truck at all, just kind of some cosmetic stuff. And then finally,
Daily usability.
finally pulled the trigger on the Pro Grill, the things that kind of matter, the ditch lights,
33s.
the 33s, the
Lift
lift
kit.
kit, stuff to really kind of make it more efficient off road to actually do a little more stuff. Effective, efficient. So that's kind of the history of the Tacoma. I got it way prior knowledge to even knowing the ZR2 even existed.
Right.
I think the
it's time
ZR2 was just rumors of like, hey,
Yeah, I mean, it
this
had been
truck's
in
starting
there,
to come
yeah.
out. There was no way that they released.
released-
I don't think
No,
that
they
was-
didn't have a... Nah, they may have. At the time, we wouldn't have.
Yeah, I don't even know. I didn't
We weren't
even.
into it.
I was so
It definitely
Toyota
debuted
family
at Detroit,
engraved. I kind of wish I took a step back and looked at some other options.
Mm.
I don't regret buying the Tacoma, but I still think to this day it still would have gotten Tacoma because the dealership, I kind of know some people in the dealership got a really good deal on the truck. But at the end of the day, it would have been kind of cool to look at the ZR2s to compare.
Right. Well, at the time, you didn't have that option.
Yeah, I didn't have the option at the time, so I was kind of stuck with Tacoma or Jeep. Wasn't going cheap, so Tacoma it was.
We love Jeeps, though. We never own them.
No, yeah, I'll praise guys who own them and fix them and drive them.
And break them.
Great, yeah, and break them too.
Yeah.
They're awesome vehicles. What they do off road is undeniably incredible,
Yeah.
but I'm just not about that lifestyle right now, at least. Who knows in the future? Maybe if they put it in that six pack in the Jeep.
Yeah.
Think about it, but that's not gonna happen. So Tacoma kind of happened, and then kind of sparked everything we do today.
Yep, you ended up getting your Tacoma. We had a lot of fun off-roading it. Next thing you know,
He was having
I'm
more
trading
fun
in-
off-roading it than I was. He was taking
Yeah.
it without me even really knowing where he was going. He was like, "Hey, can I borrow your truck? I need the bed." Like, yeah, sure. Before you know, he's sending me pictures of him down to a walkway. That's not a trail, by the
Oh,
way,
yeah.
but he made it a trail. And
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, so much for picking up, tires.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so funny story. I'll elaborate on the story. So at the time I had just bought my Mustang, and I bought it in October, and everyone I know, all my friends, family were like, "You're an idiot." I was like, "Yeah, but it means snow tires, right?" So, which I'll praise the Mustangs. I ended up buying snow tires for it. I borrowed my buddy's truck here, had a lot of fun off-roading on my way back. Drove all the way to New Hampshire, I think, to pick them up from Rhode Island.
Yep. And I didn't even go with him. That's how much I trusted this kid. Taking
Yeah.
my brand new truck to go to New Hampshire.
Yeah. Smart guy. So I borrowed his truck, drove up New Hampshire, picked up these snow tires for my Mustang. Ended up having a great time over the winter with Mustang. And it was honestly breaking the snow. If you've got half a brain and you can realize to keep your foot out of the pedal, it's not bad at all. I drove it all the way to Canada, to Montreal, for about a week over New Year's in snow. There was snow everywhere, and I mean ice, everything else.
Yeah.
It's just being a smart driver.
Stuff he was going through.
Yeah, it was a blast, no problems.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I ended up taking his truck on my way back. I was up in Boston, and there were it was a nice trail. No, it was a walking trail, but I walked it on 4 wheels.
Yeah.
It was a blast. At the time, he didn't even have his 33s. He was on stock tires, and it did really well. I'll say this. I mean, I haven't really elaborated too much, but there were some jagged rocks, and those Kevlar tires really hold up well. I'll say that.
Yeah, it's the first I'm hearing of this. So, no, but I did come home to some dented side steps.
Oh, he may have, yeah.
And,
I may have given him a good scuff on a side step.
Oh, well.
He babies it. You gotta remind him what's going on.
But yeah, honestly, the trucks really, now our whole world is their trucks. It's kind of crazy. Every day, it's what's next. It's what are we saving for next?
Yeah.
Where are we gonna go? Big Moab trip in the plans. Moab, Utah. Me, him, a few other buddies. We're in Rhode Island for some retrospect. We're in Rhode Island, driving to Moab. Doing probably a week in Moab, and then going to drive back. So you're looking at least an almost two week trip over. I think
that's
it's
going to be at least
2,000 miles one way at least. I think.
Yeah.
It's around 2,000 miles one way. It's going to be a huge trip, which is going to be. I'm so glad we're starting this channel now because it's kind of perfect timing to like ramp everything up for a big trip.
Exactly. Building up to it. It's one of those things. Already, like my truck in reality is pretty much factory. I mean, I haven't done anything with the suspension. Everything I've done with my truck has been minor. You know, I installed footwell lights that I wired into the harness so that they turn on and off with like just my dash lights. So whenever the lights kick on, the auto lights, those turn on. It's just very seamless. That's one of the things that I've always loved is having something that works seamlessly. I hate when you have to pull switches or flip switches to do something as minor as that. I know Chevy does offer a kit, like an interior illumination kit, but it's an absurd amount of money. It's a couple $100, I think it's $300. And at the end of the day, it's a couple lights. And for someone who knows how to do it, I'll go buy $25 in lights or take them out of my Mustang before it goes.
Eventually, we'll do kind of like in-depth walk around to the trucks. You can see what we have done to them. If you have questions on them, you can just ask us in the comments, whatever. Message us, and we can kind of give you the feedback of what we've done. Yeah, it's just we do a lot. Weekend trips. We don't really do a lot of week trips. We work a lot. We are in an area where a week trip's kind of a big deal. To actually go somewhere, we're looking to get into even Pennsylvania, maybe way western Connecticut, way north. I mean, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Mass, where we are, there's really not a whole lot to do. We're kind of like big explorers in the wrong location.
We've got these crazy trucks and we live in cities.
Yeah, so you can call us small crawlers if you want. In a sense, we kind of are in a way, but we still try to get them dirty as much as we can. Curb crawler, wall crawler, whatever you want to call them. The builds have been coming out slowly but surely.
Predominantly
parts
been
are
a
still sitting in the basement.
I'm not building my truck.
No, you haven't. You don't really need to build it too much.
I mean, the ZR2, the big factor on the ZR2, on picking the ZR2 was number one, the ride quality for me sold me on it. I fell in love, and just in comparison, which it could have been a little biased because I'd driven his personal truck, not a brand new one that wasn't lifted with 33s, but it was ride quality and feasibility from the factory. It's all under warranty, which I know guys are having problems with the airbags. I haven't had that issue, knock on wood. But it was just out of the gate, set up, ready to go, have some fun, and you can really rock on these trucks. I mean, I'll attest to that. I found their breaking points, but again, that's not the truck's fault.
It wasn't. Yeah, a lot of it's user error. These trucks will do a lot more than you think, but at the same time, user error is also key in a lot of the folks you see, especially online. You see something that happened, you're like, oh my god, the truck sucks, and it's like, nah, it was just the driver.
Right, absolutely. 9 times out of 10.
When I got my truck, I wanted the most bang for my buck. I didn't. Time I never really experienced.
Tacomas are great for that.
I was never a luxury car owner. I wasn't missing anything going with the base model TRD off-road. I got the off-road essentials, the throttle control, the locker, which I needed off-road.
Doesn't make a huge difference.
To wheel it properly, to wheel it as hard as the truck can do.
To keep up.
To keep up, for sure. Without investing so much money.
I still tell them that you get a front locker. I never use mine. But when I do,
if we go to 35s, we're obviously going to have to re-gear. And while we're re-gearing, naturally just going to throw the locker in while everything's open.
Yep.
It may come. It may not. We'll see. So, with the knowledge of kind of going into the truck, like, you know what, I don't want to spend the extra $4,000 on the tech package. I don't need the leather. I don't need the moonroof. I don't need the JBL sound system. A lot of those things I can do myself. If eventually I want to take it to an upholstery shop and they can throw in the leather seat covers that I order, fine. If I want to, I install heated seats in the truck myself. Don't recommend it. It's a pain and it's a nightmare. It took me 10.5 hours to do straight. I nonstop worked all night to do it and the morning. And then kind of did a few hours later again to fix things up. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. Girlfriend really was complaining about not having heated seats, so you got to keep them happy when you're off-roading, I guess. Right? So, you do what you can to
for women,
keep them happy. So, I did the heated seats. Granted, it's February now.
It is.
Freezing cold outside, 25 degrees out about right now. Yeah, 29. Heated seats.
Snow.
No snow. Maybe snow in the morning or tomorrow afternoon.
Dusting.
35 inches. Last time we were told 35, we got half an inch. So
do we know what they're predicting?
They're predicting 35 right now.
Ooh, I might wake up a happy man.
At noon. It's coming at noon.
So we're not getting it. It's going to burn off.
Yeah, I know. So.
Gotta love Rhode Island.
Installed the heated seats, kind of made the little adjustments I needed to. I don't have leather, I have cloth. Now I have cloth heated seats. Yeah, not the greatest looking, but they just get the job done. I didn't spend the money he spent, and that's where
that's the difference.
That's the difference. Sure, the Pro comes with leather, and it comes with heated seats from the factory, and it comes with moonroofs, which CR2 doesn't offer. So there's another little feature,
little bullet point.
But with little things here and here, we can go back and forth. It's all give and take. No truck is ever going to have everything. So the Tacoma has something that the ZR2 doesn't, and the ZR2 has things that the Tacoma does. If they had both the same things, then no one's going to buy a ZR2 because they'd just keep buying a Tacoma. So ZR2 kind of had to switch things up a little. Chevy had to switch things up a little bit. So, with that being said, I went into the truck knowing I wasn't getting a fully loaded truck. So the fact that I wasn't getting the luxury interior, I was fine with. Eventually that'll come. The truck's eventually going to be my weekend warrior, and I'll have a Supra in the driveway. And that'll be my luxury. That's it. Supra details just kind of got released and already drooling over it. So that's a big debate too. A lot of people aren't happy with the Supra. A lot of people are not happy with the Supra.
No, I mean in reality it's a
BMW with a Toyota emblem. So
it's even got the freaking shifter out of a BMW. Like, come on.
I'm not getting a Supra until it comes to the 6-speed. That's also a side note. So, unless it doesn't come in a 6-speed, then I guess I won't be having a Supra.
I'll die laughing if it doesn't.
Yeah, it might not.
And then I'll tell you, again,
Mustang GT.
Buy a used Mustang, probably 5,000 miles on it, slap a supercharger on it, and you're into it for 35,000, maybe 40, maybe 700 horsepower minimum a blast, reliable. Coyote Motors, listen, Ford's been in a lot of heat with their Ford Rangers, but I can tell you what, I mean, like I said, I took that Mustang all the way to Canada. It was -20 when I was up there, and that motor had 8,000 miles on it. I was scared shitless waiting for a rod to start knocking because it was so cold. And it was hilarious. People up in Canada, they would look at me and they would, what the hell? And I was like, yeah, I know, right? Crazy me. Took that here. But, yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, those motors are phenomenal. You want to talk about proving themselves and proving their worth. Just start looking up them at the tracks, especially the new 10-speed autos. Oh, my God, those cars are fast.
This is kind of actually a perfect example of what the content is going to be. The content, for the most part, each episode is going to have its main focus. With that main focus,
trying to revolve
conversation is just going to come. Yeah, for the most part, it'll be based off around our adventures, what we do with the trucks. Maybe even install videos every once in a while, because we may do an install video on something that's not common at all, especially for
probably on my truck. I built a lot of custom
there's
stuff
everything for my truck. Obviously, if you're a Tacoma follower and you're watching this, thank you. But there's thousands of videos on anything you need.
You'll be able to find it.
His truck's the complete opposite, which is kind of
expected. It's a brand new truck.
It's a brand new truck. And Chevy didn't really help itself by allowing aftermarket companies to easily create products that
they are. I mean, AEV got to work with them pretty much, not exclusively, but they've gotten to work in depth with Chevy. Actually, a lot. I did
exterior stuff for sure, but when it comes to interior stuff, it's kind of rough.
Yeah, there's like you got nothing going on for the interior zero too.
Yeah, and that's where the Tacoma thing kind of came in. I don't have a luxurious interior, but I have a lot I can do with my interior.
The aftermarket support for Tacomas is pretty insane. He has a massive following for those trucks, and pretty much if you can dream it up, somebody's done it, or is designing it, or is marketing it.
Yes.
Whereas my truck, I mean, I'm
researching to find someone with even saying the words of something.
Yeah, I mean, I was downloading technical manuals and flipping through those, learning about the wiring system.
So install videos on his truck might definitely be a future.
Right. Yeah, that'll happen more often than not.
Just because, like we just said, not a lot of content out there for it. So it's going to be some install videos, but mainly it's going to be our weekend warrior adventures.
Weekend trips are, exactly. Trips, adventures, gallivanting, going out. Anyway, where were we? Sitting inside our living room. We decided to transition. We're going to try and shoot more of our videos in the trucks, just because that's where our content's going to be coming from. We love these things. You love these things. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing this. So, this is a little bit of a wrap up to what we've been doing. We got to touch base on our trucks. Quick background about us. Ideally, we have some footage in the pipeline that we've been editing. Not a ton, sadly. Learning slowly that cameras always have to be rolling. But it's always a fun time, that's for sure. So, next week, you will see me almost break my truck again after about a week and a half of having it back after 2 months.
That's hilarious.
Well, yeah, I mean, month and a half of not having it.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Of course.
And then I think I have some footage of V pulling him. Yeah, I've got footage of me pulling you and him out afterwards. Got some cool stuff coming down. So
it's a good trip, good day trip we did up in northern part of the state.
Yeah.
Chepachet area. It was muddy, snowy.
Yeah, it was. It's been interesting.
Icy.
It was icy but warm out, so everything was starting to melt and thaw. Found that one out the hard way.
Yep.
But all in
a lot of good content coming in that day. Absolutely. Little day trip video. It's not going to be anything huge, but it's going to be a lot of the videos. I mean, we don't do multi-day trips where we're making these long videos. It's a lot of day trip stuff, kind of the highlights of the day.
We'd love to be able to go every weekend, but in reality, it's very tough to do when
as students and working full time and trying to balance your social life and all that. But
you guys know all about it.
Hey, look, it's
we're all here.
It's just an SR. I thought it was
fun fact.
The new blue.
On my way to Safe Flight this morning to go get my crack filled, I drove by. I don't know if it was a brand new TRD Pro, but it was Cavalry blue. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the new blue. It was the Cavalry blue.
Baby blue one.
Yeah, it was baby blue.
Yep.
TRD Pro sitting right on Jefferson Boulevard. Beautiful. I honked at him because he was like playing on his phone, waiting for traffic.
Yeah.
And he looked up, had no clue I went by.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Tacoma
Your truck,
guys
yeah,
respect.
your truck's one of those that kind of blends in, unless you know what it is.
Yeah.
The ZR2 badge.
Right.
You just see some. If you catch the suspension, you're like, oh, okay, that's kind of neat.
Plus, I've got the
And
light
then
bar.
you have the
Everyone's
light
got
bar,
the tech,
okay, and then like the tires and wheels.
Yeah.
But besides that, it
Blends in. It's
it
great.
blends in, and the
Yeah.
color's not so flashy either. Where like a lot of the Tacomas and Toyotas now are having all the fancy colors, where you're like, whoa, what's that? Like,
It's funny, come
Catches
to
the
think
eye.
about it, this is my first vehicle between the motorcycles and the cars. This is my first vehicle that's like a neutral color. It's a primary or plain color.
yep.
I've always had my my Subaru was bright blue. Both of my bikes were bright blue. The Mustang was orange. It was like orange
Orangey
red.
red,
Yeah. And then the Harley's purple-ish. It's like a deep purple.
I was the opposite. I always did neutral colors.
Yeah.
So the bike was
The
bright
Integra.
blue.
You had the red
The Integra I had red. Okay, so I had one neutral color.
Yeah.
I had the Integra, which was red, which, sports car red. That didn't go well. You experienced the same thing. And then we had the bright blue Suzuki's.
Yep. They had full
And-
graphics packages. They were obnoxious.
Yep. And I had the bright Toyota, and then I had the Quicksand.
Yes. Fun stuff. So, until next time, signing off. Have fun.
Appreciate you guys watching. Remember to subscribe, like, get word of mouth, all that good stuff. Because the more growth we get, the more content we'll be able to push out.
We'll be doing most of our actual videos on here via YouTube and our vlog, but we have Charlie Tango. It's charlie.tango_ on Instagram. That we'll be focusing predominantly on kind of like action shots there for the two trucks. But it's kind of tough when you're uploading footage and whatnot. I can't upload a 3-minute clip of us getting pulled out. It's gonna be all cut up and it's not terrible. So vlogs, have fun. Till next time.